Great. I think we are online right now. Well, welcome to the webinar on creating an online presence through search. First off, I tested previously on the quality of this streaming, so I hope it'll be sufficient. And I'll just switch so you can see me. 2 seconds. Yeah, well, hello, my name is Rene. I'm from the company WorksOnline, and I'm a SEO and AdWords specialist. So I primarily deal with search engines and optimization tricks in regards to getting more traffic and getting more value from the search engines. Today we're going to talk a little about that too, as well as some other key aspects that I found useful for startups and other businesses that need to get a larger or better online presence. So without further ado, I will just go over to my PowerPoint show and kick it off from there. Great. First off, this with creating an online presence, it's kind of useful today because the Google machines and the Bing and all the Yahoo search engines are critical in order to be found on the internet. So if a business needs to succeed today, they need to focus on online, and most of you already know that, but some of it might need to get a little run through. So let's start off by talking a little about myself. I am an SEO and AdWords specialist here at WorksOnline. What I primarily do is, as I mentioned, is dealing with search engines, optimizing our clients so they are getting found, getting leads and getting sales, and this happens through organic search, which is called SEO, and Google Adwords, which is the paid solution that Google delivers. So, and we also are a Google partner. That means that we have tight relationship with Google in regards to the Google Adwords system, and we always get training and other requirements that we need to to be better for our clients. So the quality that we deliver, in my opinion, very high, and we always try to do our best in regards to that. Today's agenda is about some previously mentioned stuff like search. We're going to encounter some WordPress CMS, if anybody ever heard about that. And we're going to talk about some segmentation and niches, and about how to measure performance. And last of all, we're going to talk about a little about case studies, and I'll give you some great links to get you all started. As all, if you have any questions, you can just put in the Q&A, and I'll try to answer it along the way. So first off, let's see here. I'll just screen share again. There you go. Oh, sorry. Just a minor difficulty here. There you go. All right. First off, a little about our business. We are called WorksOnline and deal with a bunch of different stuff. Mostly we are a digital agency which helps our clients succeed in the online discipline. That's regarding to websites, apps, hosting, SEO, AdWords, software development, and social media. A little overview of that is coming right up here, and this is all about getting the first lineup ready. So we got the search part, which consists of social media, search engine optimization, and Google Adwords, as well as the websites, web shops, and some graphic design. We also make offline handouts and other printed stuff. So it's not always purely digital. And the last thing is the more on the heavy end. It's apps and hosting and software development. So we are constantly trying to deliver the best experience for our clients through these products. At this moment in time, we are sticking with these products, these 9 products, and can see that our clients are very happy about that. So in our opinion, this is all about making sure that the client has the right kind of tool set that it can choose from. So if a client come in and talk to us about SEO or Google AdWords, I know that we're gonna have to look at their website, or we're gonna have to look towards the social media, or are they engaged in other kinds of stuff like web shops? Do they have an app, or are their website running poorly because of bad hosting, or etc., etc. So all these things come together, and in this aspect, we are trying to make sure that our client will never stand with a question mark and say, where can I get this service delivered? So going through this, I want to take a little time looking at this little quote. It's from John Wanamaker. He's a marketing pioneer, and often when we are talking about digital presence and marketing online, almost everybody doesn't know where all their money are going. So back in the days, in traditional media like radio and TV and newspapers, we didn't exactly know how our target group would read this stuff or interpret this stuff, and how many would disregard it, how many will embrace it, and so on and so forth. So the digital era has delivered some key aspects in terms of data. So we can easily go in and say, okay, I know that I'm spending this amount of money, I know I'm spending this amount of time, and I want to make sure that the next year I'll get the double of my investment. So I need to invest some more of our budget to accommodate the increase traffic, or the increase focus on some marketing campaign or some other thing. So the key aspects here is to know that we are definitely way ahead of time in analytics and data gathering. So I'll come back to that later, why it's so important to know that. So the primary focus points for today is you should all learn a little about how to increase your online presence through search. That means search engines, and hopefully increase sales and or lead generation. That means that using some of these techniques and some of these methods will give you an upper hand in getting some more leads and getting some more sales. If you have e-commerce web shops, or you have a brick and mortar store, then you can get more customers locally. And also, if you are a business consultant, or you need some more leads or some more brand awareness. So this is all about getting the visibility right. So let's try and jump right through that. Well, the first thing about the search engines is that we have 2 types of marketing methods, and now I'm talking primarily about Google, because Google here in Denmark, where I'm located right now, is about 95% of the total searches done every month. So it depends on which country you're in. So primarily it's Google oftenly that takes the lead. But if it runs takes to Russia, it's a machine called Yandex, and I believe it's called Baidu, a machine called Baidu in China. But some of these search engines are always trying to essentially doing the same thing. They want to deliver the right message at the right time to the right user, and that is extremely difficult. I'll give some links on how this works in regards to Google, and you can look it up and see what how the process is really made up and defined. So you need to use the right tools, and by that I mean you need to use the right tools for the job. You don't go and start your online business by posting some local articles in your local newspaper, or you need to go in and say, okay, what tools do you need? We are primarily using Google Adwords as a marketing platform, a business tool in regards to advertising on the search engines. So it could be that this approach is the right for you, or you should be very careful about looking at the right tools for the right kind of job. So you need to accomplish your goals with the use of the right tools, and this needs to be incorporated in a long-term and a short-term perspective. So when you start up an Google AdWords campaign, essentially you know that most of the ads you see around the Google network and the Google search engine will come up in the top and the right and the bottom. It depends on the query, but if you are focused on using Google AdWords, then you need to make sure that, okay, you are delivering some ads to a target group, and they're expecting something from you in return. They're expecting a place to go when they click on the ad. They're expecting some relevance according to the keyword they used, and the ad they saw, and the landing page that will be the website page that they end up getting to. So if the effort of using Google AdWords, let's take SEO 2 seconds, but Google AdWords will be a fast tool to get started with. So make sure that you're using the right kind of keywords, and you are targeting the right group, and you're using the right website page that they will encounter when they are clicking on the link. SEO is a different ball game, so it's more of a think long approach and a more investment in the quality and the you could say future of the website. So often people think that SEO is only about tricking the search engines and making sure that you get the better rank than everybody else, and you're constantly competing against some algorithms and so on and so forth. But that's not always the case. I always see SEO as a way of gaining more traffic to his site, because higher ranking in the search results always lead or often leads to more traffic along your way. So in terms of long and short aspects, think about this in regards to SEO and Google AdWords. You cannot start an SEO campaign tomorrow and expect it will be profitable right away. Often I see clients which get results within 6 to 12 months, but that varies in different kind of industry you're in. Another key aspect is the budget. So if you're constantly aware of how much you have put aside for Google AdWords and for SEO, you must know that the competition could be high. So invest wisely, and know that the budget is just a minor thing in this long run, but you need to invest some time in it too. And the last thing here in regards to choosing and selecting your right tools, We often use our in-house, of course. I'm sitting with our clients and maintaining them, and most of our clients are using us. So they have some clients that have their own in-house SEO, or they just need some external advice from us, and we'll collaborate on that. But make sure that you know what is in-house. That means something can be done within your own team, or do you need a consultant agency? Often you can directly consult someone like us, and we'll give you, for instance, a free overview of the Google Adwords campaign or something like that. Most companies does that right away, and you'll be able to make sure that okay, I'm on the right track, and this is the best way to do it. So talking about SEO, it's all about gaining traffic from the search engines, and it consists of primarily two things we like to call on-page and off-page factors, and that is the factors and the different ways of structuring your content on-page, that on your website, what you have control of, and the off-page is primarily link building and getting to increase your traffic and increase your visibility online. You must know that content is king, and by that I mean this is a very hard subject, so I'll not dive into it right away. But the content that you deliver on the website and the content that the users see must be of high quality, and must be something that is really relevant for the target group. If it's not, they will quickly disappear. A rule of thumb is about 3 seconds from when you click on a search link in a search engine to your C website, and that's the time you probably would take to estimate if this site is something you would like to see. So you need to provide some stuff that is really relevant, and really good for your target group. And in regards to this SEO, I will not dive into the specific details on this today. These three points I'll just make as a jump point to go to this link I posted here. It's called mars.com/beginner's guide to SEO, and it's extremely good. I will use it in the list for last with the links, and you can take a look. But this gives a really good sense about how to start with SEO if you're completely a new beginner, and if you want to learn some more advanced things, I got some of the links for that too. So I think we should move on to the other type of advertisement or visibility you can gain in, for instance, Google, and that is Google Adwords. We got the pay-per-click method, which is you pay for every click that your ad will receive, and that's pretty much it. You're setting up some campaigns with some ads, and that will be triggered by some certain keywords you want. So for instance, if you want to sell our laptop computers, we will make a keyword called laptop computers, and we will make a really efficient, a great ad about this specific type of model, or this specific type of lineup, and we will link it to our direct landing page or website page, which contains all the relevant information. You can buy it, you can see it in different specifications and all that other great stuff that you find on the website. So in aspect, this will be that the right message at the right time will be delivered to the right searcher. So I'm looking for a laptop. I want to find an ad stating, okay, here's the laptop you search. You can buy it right here. You can look upon more information here, and for the taking all things in account, that the user is the primary focus here, not the search engines, but we need to deliver the right kind of content to the right user. And it's also one of the fastest way to reach new customers in search, because you can literally in about 2 hours, depends on what kind of ads you have created, you can get online and you can target your target group with some really good ads and actually get the online visibility within 2 hours or less. So that's really fast. Two other things I will get to that here is geographic segmentation. You can segment on different kinds of countries, different kinds of cities, and say, okay, you want to invest a campaign in only one state or one city or one area of your country, and say, okay, we want to invest a certain budget to that place, and make sure that only people who are visiting through that location will see your ads. That also is true for a specific time of day. Let's say you have a business that knows that your customers are searching for you at 12 p.m. or 11 p.m. at night, at the evening. So it could also be during the day and the morning or whatever. You can specify this in the interface. And to learn more about the Google Adwords interface, you should simply just visit the Google Adwords campaign setup, and I will link that in the last slide. But in the meantime, if you want to learn a little bit more precise thing about Google Adwords, wordstream.com/ppc is a great place to get started. So it's essentially a kind of blogging forum, a news site which delivers content around everything related to search, but also very good about PPC. So we'll definitely check that out. So in regards to social media, yeah, I know most of you would probably have an account in one of these social media platforms, and just simply brief, I would like you to focus on that. That if you choose to be on Facebook or YouTube or making a company page on LinkedIn, just make sure that you are committed to it, not focused on 10 different kind of platforms and not actively contribute to it. Most of the viral videos we are seeing lately with for instance, the ALS Bucket Challenge is a key aspect in social media. We want to share things. We want to make sure that the world can see what we do, and that also benefits directly from benefits the businesses. So you need to think strategic, and you need to think long term with this one. So don't, if you get it, the most common question always here is about the negative comments from users or clients or customers when they appear on social media. And I've seen some worst cases where a business have directly been very aggressive towards the users, and I could not be more clear about you need to think very long term here. So always be very positive and do not start an argument with the client or customer. Just think to work it out somewhere. You could always work it out in some way or another, and don't engage in some kind of aggressive approach. So I think that most of you are aware of that, so that's not a problem for most people. In terms of all these online tools and how to get started, I would like to introduce a term called low-hanging fruit. It's a term used in search with some of the easy pickings. You can say that, okay, let's start by optimizing our page, and let's start by giving some content to users, or maybe you have some setting in your website that makes sure that you're not being found in the search engine. Well, take it off and make sure you're being found. So start with a low and easy way of gaining some traffic. Also, the guides I posted earlier and later will definitely give you some key aspects on low hanging fruit. So take that in mind. Another good thing to focus on is you can sit all day and all night focusing on SEO and Google Adwords or some other online marketing approach, and just think about the time and the return on investment you'll get from this. Most often we here at WorksOnline sit down with the client and estimate the return on investment based on their goals and our assessment of what is possible. So make sure that you take some time in focusing on, okay, what will this be beneficial for me in the short term and in the long run. So that also means that you need to focus on the things that work. If you can see that a certain approach is giving you bad return on investment, then just drop it. It's not worth the effort. And also, this is some pure thing that you need to have established from the start. You need to establish the goals. You can do that by just manually thinking about, okay, we need to increase the visitor count by 50% in the next 3 months, or some other e-commerce goal, like we need to increase our revenue by 50,000 in the next year, and this should all come from PPC, or that will be Google Adwords or other. But you need to make sure that you're focused on what are your goals and not just trying some different things out. Well, some of the things that we also need to think about is the technical difficulties. So often you had a website or a blog or some other platform that you want your users to interact with and visit, and you need to choose a suitable platform for that. So a quick question about e-commerce or not is that, yeah, if you need to plan on selling some products and you need to do a large scale, you need a safe and fast web host, and you need a platform that is suitable for many kind of users. That is often the case with the users landing on an e-commerce site and finding out that the site is slow and essentially not buying because they had a bad experience. And this is also in terms of the long run. So think about this in terms of maintenance also. How often should this be updated? Do you have some web developers that can actively maintain this setup? And please make sure that you're not sticking with an old platform and not making sure that your solution is scalable. And by scalable, I mean, I'll just come into the WordPress CMS, which we use, but scalable, I mean, make sure that if you plan on using e-commerce, make sure that your platform can be adapted with the e-commerce systems, or you can easily transition between this, because if you're invested really many hours into using a website and primarily not dealing with e-commerce, and you just suddenly think that, okay, we need to get into e-commerce, then you should be aware of the technical difficulties that can be with some of the platforms. But one of the key platforms that we use here at WorksOnline is WordPress, and it started out like a blogging tool, but it's actually now a pretty good CMS. I'll give you 5 good reasons to that. First of all, it's very reliable and it's easy to set up. It's like I think it's 2 minutes to have the setup system, so that is pretty fast, also for non-technicians. It's based upon plugin functionality. Let's say that you need a feed from Facebook, and you can simply just install a plugin and make that happen on your site, and when you don't need it anymore, you can deactivate this functionality. That's really great. It's open source. That means you can easily modify the platform, and if you say, okay, we need to adapt it to some kind of specific use within some tracking system or booking system or other kind of systems that you have developed on the site, and you can easily adapt it to this CMS content management system. It's also easy translatable. If you need to translate a WordPress site, I will always recommend WPML, which is a plugin that you can buy, and you just install it, and it will almost take care of things for you. You sure need to translate the stuff, but the whole setup is really great. So check that out. Last of all, it's e-commerce ready. It's something called WooCommerce, and is available free for all WordPress CMS systems. It's a very good solution if you're planning to setting on a different kind of lineup of products. So if you have like a little clothes store or some other kind of sale of, it could be digital too. You can set it up pretty easy with the e-commerce functionality. If you need something to get started on this with WordPress, I will suggest using this link to get to vpbeginner.com. It's a great place with some video tutorials and great place also for first times, and also for the advanced section when trying to code into the different functionality that WordPress provides. Some of the key aspects of going online is also you need to think mobile, and you need to target for mobile behavior. You all know this. You use your cell phones every day, and you need to think about, as website and as advertisement need to be built for mobile use, and you need to segment your ads for mobile if you plan on focusing on a different kind of target group. So let's say that your target group is using mobile phones for navigation, and you want to make sure that, okay, your ad appear only on mobile devices. Well, you can do that in Google Adwords. So for instance, that is a platform that is mobile ready and will surely make a big difference in the future. So if you're planning on advertising towards your users on the mobile side of things, just think about that too. This also comes to mind with talking about something called responsive web design. It's basically about your website fitting your screen on your laptop, on your tablet, on your phone, and making sure that all different devices get the same experience, or the greatest, the best experience. So WordPress is often praised by the responsive web design, and some of the current themes that are installed on a native WordPress install is responsive out of the box. So you could just go ahead and fill those things out and get it working on the mobile side of things too. That is really great. Talking a little about a good online approach, something called cross marketing is essentially just focusing on more than one horse at a time. So you need to focus that SEO and AdWords is just one side of the coin. You also need to think about the email marketing side of things, and what about direct sales, and could you do some other kind of approach that is perhaps more offline, like, or I don't know if you can remember when we started this webinar, you saw pull up a banner behind me. That's also a kind of marketing for our clients, and you need to think about not only using one device or one approach to this, and also gather information. And at this point in time, I know that many of you are using some kind of intelligence gathering. That could be Google Analytics, which I will return to, but also some other kind of newsletter sign-up information, because it's really good to have a customer's information, so you can add permission to later then market to and towards. And that's really a key aspect of things, and getting all your focus on a specific target group, and make sure that you can, okay, we need to make sure that this target group is exposed to this kind of a advertisement, that they experience the greatest experience that you can deliver, and that they are actively nurtured. So you need to listen to your target group. You need to make sure that that the target group is focused on with the right kind of advertisement. So don't try and advertise towards people who primarily use mobile phones and give them a site which is or ad which is non-responsive. Google Adwords automatically makes the advertisement responsive to the users, but you can specify if you need some ads to be preferred over others in terms of mobile. So let's say you have a phone that you need to a phone number that you need to display for your target group, and you know that the mobile users need a more prominent location of this phone number, so you easily can call your business or other ways to contact you, like email or so on so forth. So make sure that you listen to this target group, and also on the social media side of things. And this brings us to a little about how to succeed if you are a niche, or if you are in a certain kind of unique place with your product or with your service. And first off, we talked a little about this before, but you need to start with some strategic thinking. Think about, okay, what is our priority? What is our focus? How do we make sure that we are giving the right budget to the right kind of tools? And this is of course something you can focus on, but also focus on getting ahead and not just thinking all the time, because we also here at WorksOnline get some great ideas sometimes, and we just need to realize that, okay, we have a great idea, but we also need to effectively pursue that idea and use it in a more practical manner. So use your strategic thinking to deliver a unique service or product, and that's your core value that your customers will engage on you, and that will hopefully give you some sales or leads and some branding of your business. One of the ways to do that is to be a thought leader. I'm missing a T there, but something that you know entirely all about. And that could be that you could be a carpenter, or a plumber, or you could be a consultant in regards to perhaps speaking with your clients about something that you know entirely well, and you know that, okay, you know so much about this that maybe you should blog about it, maybe you should give some kind of tips about it in your social media campaigns or something like that. So they know that, okay, we need to go to your site or to consult you if we need to answer this. And often they afterwards they say to you, okay, you know a lot about these things, so I want to buy this from you because you have gained my trust, and we know that we could succeed with you in this cooperation. So you need to sell some unique products, so you're not just one of the line. You can also sell or offer some services that others use. That's perfectly fine, but just make sure that you're not trying to hide yourself from the rest. Use your own uniqueness and your own core values that will set you apart from the competition, and argument why the client or the customer should buy from you. The offline values could be like great service if you have a brick and mortar store, or if you have some banners that it will correspond with the online activity too. And most often these the push of online development makes sure that that the offline value is somewhat diminished, but you must always focus on, if the client calls you, they should experience the same kind of service level. And you all know this stuff, but just to make sure that, okay, the clients are not just digital monsters or digital clients or some other kind of persons that only belong on the internet. It's the real persons that want to buy from you just doing this through a certain kind of media. And you can do this. Oftenly it's more easy with some low competition, and if we're talking Google Adwords primarily and SEO, using a keyword analysis and thinking out, okay, which keyword is better for me. I know that, okay, I want to rank number one or gain more traffic from the word cars. I should probably look for a different word and a more specific word, because the competition is very high in these parts, and in financial and banking and insurance and so forth. So focus on some words that you know. Okay, you can also ask your clients and see, okay, well, what is this all about? And first off, define your target audience. Make sure that your audience is well defined. You know which kind of persona to have. You know which kind of person, which is your ideal customer. So with all this in mind, you can take some focus on customer segmentation now. And by that I mean, if you look at this little chart here, you can see that dividing your people into, okay, we got some search activity, we got some social campaigns, and we know that 35% of the social people listening to us is men, and the other 65% is female. So perhaps we should address our advertising towards these kind of data, and that also is very great in terms of finding out, okay, we know a little more about our customers, so we can also tailor a specific message for them. And that brings us to the customer's funnel, which is basically making sure that you narrow down your ideal customer and making sure that you're not going after everybody in the whole world, but focusing on the people that is your ideal customer and that really want your product or service. And you need to find out how you can gather this intelligence. I always recommend Google Analytics for a start, because it's a great startup tool and a great way to freely gather intelligence. So start by going to Google Analytics and set up the tracking code, and it will just track on your website every day. And perhaps in a year or two you can say, okay, I would like to go back and see some data from that side, from that point in time. And that is really great to have some data. You can focus on some key metrics like, I'll come back to that later, but focus on some key metrics like user engagement or sessions. That would be how many visits your site has gained, or many clicks, and so forth. And take these key metrics and make decisions on them. So let's say that you have, okay, you invested some a budget on the traffic in SEO, and you know that, okay, your traffic increased by 30%. So if we focus more on SEO, we should probably gain a lot more traffic based on the same approach we did earlier. So focusing on that will make sure that you are focusing on your data, not what your gut tells you. This also gradually is focused on experiments. You need to, in AdWords, typically make a couple of ads differently from each other, so you can make sure that, okay, which one is performing better. And as I told you earlier, google.com/analytics is a great link to get you started and to get better at and start on gathering some data. So the first case I would like to introduce to you is a client which sells sportswear for women, and their results, and I'll just take it right to the point. In a around 6-month period, they achieved 36% increase in organic traffic, and 34% of the total traffic came from Google Adwords. That's a pay-per-click method, and the direct sales also increased because the on-page SEO increased the UX and usability. So UX is user experience, and the usability can the user use the site properly? Are the buttons are all right? Is there something that's technically wrong, or other things? User experience is more like but the site is very bad for me experience-wise. So we need to make sure that the users are feeling welcome and they know where to go and all those kind of things. I think we should just go on with the sessions, because this is the primary key metric of taking out Google Analytics. You can export the data from Google Analytics to a PDF, and you can get it out by simply just focusing. Okay, we want to make sure that we're seeing data from this kind of this period, and I've taken the last 30 days from this client, and we can see that most of the traffic they gain is from paid search, and then we got some from organic search to Google, and we had some direct. That's the business will type directly in the browser, and got some social that we just type Instagram and Facebook, and we got some referral traffic which is from other sites that link to it. So previously, before we started campaign, they have around 0. They haven't had any AdWords campaign, and the key aspect here is that we can most often the online side of things like paid search and organic search we can control, and social also, but people who link to us by referrals and directs is not that easy to control. And a little overview of the bounce rate, which is a metric for the disengagement level. So if you visit a site and you do not click, you do not scroll on anything, you just go directly back, it will be considered a bounce. So people will bounce off your site, not finding it relevant. So in this case, we saw that referral had increasingly high bounce rate, but the lowest bounce rate came actually from paid search, which is Google Adwords. So most often this is a focus on, okay, the bounce rate is low on the paid search and the AdWords, so we know that most people find this interesting. They are actively trying to visit more pages and scrolling and clicking and engaging with the site, which is good. If you have e-commerce set up or some other kind of value or subscription-based setup, so you can easily, by using Google Analytics, you can set up, and Google AdWords, you can set up some conversion tracking, which is basically monitoring the economic value of your site. So in terms of revenue, this site has only run with this tracking in from this data set from around the last 30 days, and we can see that the paid search is giving the business the most of the money, and the referral gives around 0. So in terms of this, we can see that in referral we got a high bounce rate. They are not really interested, but the paid search is getting a low bounce rate, and using it with some conversion tracking data, we can see that the paid search delivers more sales than referrals do. So perhaps it's not always a question about, okay, should we just focus on eliminating referrals, or should we invest some of our budget to focus on getting this referral metric better. So that is also a focus point you should take into account, and always focus on gaining some economic value. Other case is coffee machines and wholesale. It's a website that primarily has consultants that sells coffee and coffee machines and coffee stands and wholesale coffee. They gained high results in the search results, and 34.2% of the total traffic is from organic search. We experienced a very high engagement, around 2 minutes, which is extremely long for this kind of customer, and we can see about 2 to 10% improvement every month on the key metrics like the total traffic and average engagement. So in terms of this client, we can see that the blue one is the last 30 days, and the orange one is the month before. So we got a slight increase in some aspects, but a slight decrease in some aspects. And I told you earlier that you should focus on the metrics and take data decisions, but always make sure that you're not experiencing a fluke or some kind of one-time experience. We can see that later in, if we go 2 or 3 years back in this data set, we can see that the development has been positive all around, but in the last 30 days we are experiencing some negative output regards to paid search and direct. Okay, so let's take that in account to the whole period and not just the last 30 days, because it's not always a great idea to focus on small different changes. Focus on the great aspect and see, okay, are your business going well? Are we going up, going down, or what are we trying actively to change? So the bounce rate in this type of thing is extremely high on social. We got some high bounce rate on paid search, so we need to make sure that, okay, the ads are probably not that relevant for our customers, clients, so we need to adjust that. And using this data, we can see, okay, which type of source is getting the best results, and perhaps we can see that social is getting a high bounce rate. Why is that? Do we need to improve upon our posts, or is it on some other kind of aspect? And in general, this is what we do, and you can also use that in your own business goals and your own strategic. Just focus on your own approach, but we establish relevant goals for the client in a cooperation with the client, and we create a specific keyword list with the client. So they wanted to gain some traffic for these kind of keywords, and they want to be visible upon these keywords. And we created focused Google Adwords campaigns with the right message at the right time, and focused on the key landing pages. And we optimized with on-page SEO and off-page SEO link earning. The off-page SEO link earning, we haven't talked a lot about that, but it's essentially the external factors of linking, people linking to you, to your site, so they will send some traffic, and in the other way gain you some better rankings. You can learn about that more in the links I will give you in 2 seconds, and that will help you get started with that. We also deliver monthly reports on the SEO and Google Adwords performance, so the client can easily see, okay, is it going good, is it going bad? And as I said before, you need to make sure that a negative data set on your monthly report is not always a bad thing. That depends on how you see things and what your earlier approach was. If you're completely revamped your Google Adwords campaign, for instance, and you know that, okay, you have gained a lot of less, fewer clicks per month, but they are more relevant and they're gaining more sales. Okay, let's see that as a positive aspect. So we are starting to near the end here, but some great tools to get you started is primarily focused on Google. They got some great tools out there, and I use them all the time in my daily work. And it's Google Webmaster Tools, which incorporates with your website and gives you feedback on some different kind of technical errors or some search metrics too, and Google Analytics, which we covered before, a great free analytics tool. Google My Business is focused on local presence, so if you have a brick and mortar store and you need to get local and visibility and appear in the search results, go there. It's a great new thing that Google put together. Google Adwords, the paid method of getting ads in the search engines, and Google Alerts is a place where you can monitor keyword searches. So let's say you want to know every time a site links to you or a site writes about you. You can put this in an alert, and Google will send you a mail when they discover some content with this word in it. Truly great stuff. Ubersuggest is a keyword list suggester, so I use it all the time to make our to find out different keywords, and you can use this list and plot it into Google Adwords. They got something called keyword planner, and it will give you some estimates of monthly searches and monthly competition on these keywords. The last thing here is some cool forums and tutorial sites I'll recommend. Most of it is focused on SEO and AdWords, but they also contain some other kind of thing. I'm really fond about Mars.com and WordStream, and the search engine land site in the bottom is really great for content. So check this out. You can always look at the video after and see these links. And if you got any more questions, just write in the Q&A, and I'll try to answer them as fast as possible. So thank you for this opportunity to tell a little bit about what we do and an aspect of search that I find very interesting. I will, as always, you can contact us at this information, or you can follow us on the social media, and hopefully we'll see each other again. So I'll just switch to the web camera here again, and if you have any kind of questions, just write it in the Q&A here at the right. I know there's some kind of latency on the connection, so I'll just wait a little bit to make sure that we get everybody through. Yes. Some other thing to focus about here is also that I'm a active contributor to Moz.com's blog section, and that's a place that I use frequently to gain some more knowledge about the SEO and AdWords universe. And often it's actually a great place to get started with some basic questions. And if you know, they have some blog post that you find interesting, you can just type it in the comments, say, you want to make sure that you're doing this right, and you want to make sure that you are approaching your online presence correctly. So they're really great to help you out, and have thousands of users that helps you out. So that's a great place to get started. One other thing I can recommend from their site is something called Whiteboard Friday, which is basically some videos about search. and they're doing great. If you want to learn a little more about your local local approach to SEO, I'm sure that in each country you're in, you easily can get some of your fellow marketeers or some of the other people that actively market themselves as that could be social media experts or SEO agencies or something like that, and you can ask them a question or two. The community revolving around search is very free and very open. So the days of where we try to keep our details so close to the chest as possible are over. So you can ask anybody a question about anything. I think that shouldn't be a problem at all. So I can see that should be it. We can just stop the broadcast. And thank you for today. It was great to tell you a bit about my work and what we do here at WorksOnline. So great. Bye. Have a great day.